What is up, guys? Welcome to another episode of The Real Build. I'm your host, Bill Ryman, your broker builder, and today I got a very special guest all the way from Pittsburgh, man. I'm excited to have you, Mark Easton. Welcome to The Real Build, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate the invite.
Yeah. So I wrote a little background. You're the founder of Buccos Roofing. You've built one of the fastest growing roofing companies in the country, focusing on something that's surprisingly rare for the roofing industry, and that's trust, transparency, and customer experience. You and I kind of touched on that in the beginning, and I can't wait to get into that with you because the roofing world is kind of, the construction world in general, but the roofing world, there's not a lot of honesty there. It's kind of got that bad rep. So you've kind of gone the opposite direction by doing things the right way. So I'm excited to have you today. But before we get started, you guys know the routine: like, share, comment, subscribe. Go on YouTube, check out all past episodes. With that being said, let's kick it off. The Real Build is about building better culture, leaders, visionaries, community to better serve the client. I'm your host, Bill Ryman, your broker builder, and I'm here to showcase real business owners building companies with integrity, trust, and a commitment to making a positive impact. Join us as we explore their stories, insights, and strategies for success. With that being said, welcome to The Real Build. All right, so let's get into your background a little bit. How you got into the roofing industry, like how did that start?
Kind of just fell into the industry, honestly. I had a roommate that was a roofer,
okay,
and he kept just like pressing me to get into the industry, and I just took him up on it one day and decided to get into it. So I grew up like always kind of wanting to be a contractor. I thought that would be like an easy opportunity for me to succeed. And when he said roofer or get into the roofing industry, I was like, this is a great idea. Like, it's service. Anytime that you are poor and you want to be rich, you should get in the service industry. That was kind of like my basic foundational thought. And then I really wanted to pick something expensive. And roofing is an expensive service. So, and then I got into the game and I realized like the lack of care and how much people couldn't, be honest, and people weren't showing up on time. And I was like, this is a pretty easy place to play. And just fast forward like 14 years, and it's been a joy.
Did you start like as a kid? Were you in construction at all? Is that where that kind of want for it came? Or
yeah, like the first project I ever did, we had a barn in the back of our house, and we turned it into a house.
Oh, nice.
And I was in 8th grade, and I remember doing all the drywall with my dad and flooring and putting that together. So, like, I saw the value of construction at that point. But I just always liked building things, and my big thought process was like, I want to drive down the road one day and like point at something and tell my kids like I did that.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to be in building or real estate, construction, something like that.
Awesome, man. Let's go into kind of that roofing stigma, right? You talked about it, like you getting into the industry because you wanted to be different. You wanted to do things the right way. It's the construction industry in general has like, there's a lot of, in my area too, there's a lot of bad builders. It's all about the paycheck, right? It's not about the overall customer or benefiting the customer, just integrity, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about that in the roofing industry and like how you're doing it different. How is Buccos Roofing doing it different? Because obviously you guys are scaling fast, you're growing fast. What are you doing to do that?
I mean, one of the most important things is communication, obviously. Like, you need to be a man of your word in this game. I realized pretty early that if you just answer your phone and you show up on time, you're pretty much at the 80 percentile. So then basically after that, I started like I kind of came into the game wanting to be a businessman. That was like my thought process, but I knew I'd never be like a good roofer without understanding roofing. So the first 3 or 4 years, obviously, I did nothing but work with my hands and do the roofing myself. But I soon found out that, like, if you take the business approach to, like, focus on hospitality and take care of the customer, and ultimately what I started doing when I started working with my hands and realizing the importance of it is, like, the product is everything. You have to deliver a superior product. So that's been, like, the focus of our entire company when we hire is, like, we want good people that are responsive, that communicate well, and deliver a good product.
The product, when you say the product is everything, that stands out to me a lot, man, because we're the same. And it's like we're always trying to figure out, like, how can we get better? Like, what can we do to perfect what we're already doing? What are some of the things behind the walls that are, or behind the drywall that people aren't seeing that we're doing that nobody else is doing, because they're all trying to worry about cutting costs while we're trying to just make things last longer. And in the roofing industry too, you and I talked about it before. I met with a local roofer recently that doesn't take on a lot of work, but what stood out to me is it's the same thing as what you're saying, that standard, and just delivering a quality product that's going to last, not just getting there, getting out, throwing up a roof and not fastening things right, or adding that extra thing. So what should somebody look for, as far as a roofer? Because there's a lot of them out there, in every market, right? A lot of them are just trying to get rich quick. What are some of those standards people should be looking for in a roofer that they're not maybe seeing, or when somebody's knocking on their door with an insurance saying, I can get your insurance to pay for it? What should they be looking for?
I mean, one of the most important things is how do they respond when there is a mistake, right? I think that everybody really matters, because when you're in a human-driven business, like, you're bound to have mistakes. It's just, excuse me, just the way that it goes. So I think where we differentiated ourselves is, like, we always were there when there was a problem. Anytime that it was like, you talk to the homeowner, listen, we can fix this. We know that we can. It's not all about how you start. It's about how you finish. We'll finish strong for you. That's always been, like, very important in part of our business. But then the products itself, like, a lot of companies are doing, like, good, better, best. We just do, like, the Buccos Roofing way. It's like, we found the best pipe boot. We only use the best pipe boot. We realize that thicker metal is better. We do that. Like, we're in Columbus market now, and we're getting calls constantly for chimney flashings on brand new roofs. It's like, they didn't flash the chimney. Like, why not? Like, people just kind of always just want to put on the shingles, and there's a lot more to it than that. I'll go to a job, and for instance, like, it's leaking on the wall, and they're like, yeah, I got like 3 roof bids. I'm like, well, did anybody give you a siding bid? Because it's leaking right where the flashing meets the siding. Like, unless you do that right, and where we are, there's a lot of snow. So if you don't have the metal up high enough, like, you're going to have a problem with the wall. So just identifying those things and, like, having a thought process of, like, addressing the problem rather than giving them what they want. Like, I know that sounds hard to hear. That's the truth. Like, a lot of people will call me and be like, yeah, I want you to do this lower roof. And I'll be like, you don't need that. You need the wall, like, that's the problem. So, you don't always win those jobs because they want a shiny new roof, and you can give them that. But ultimately, we won't sell something that doesn't fix the problem, because we know that we'll get a phone call.
Well, it goes back into what you just said. It's overall integrity, right? Going back and fixing the actual problem. And I think a lot of contractors in general struggle with that. I want to say struggle, because they have a choice to whether they want to go back or not, but they don't do it, right? Flat out just don't do it. And that's huge for what you're doing, is to be able to go back, as, especially in the roofing industry, like, you mess up, take accountability. Yeah.
Well, that's kind of the nature of the business, is it's very much like, it's like a one-stop, it's not a reoccurring customer. So these people are always like, they would go in, they make their money, they leave.
Yeah.
So they have that mindset, like, we're done. We don't have to go back anymore. But we have a nice long in-house warranty, and we kind of adopted that from Santa Mark. We knew that was, like, their whole business model. So we just kind of sell that. We explain that to the homeowners, and we honor it.
And then as far as the integrity side of things too, like, dealing with clients it's not an easy process. I'm sure you've had difficult ones, right? For sure you've had a lot. And I think there's a thing with contractors too, when they have that difficult client, they kind of pull back the reins a little bit, and they say, why do they deserve to get, why should I go back? Why should I do that too? But in reality, most of the time when you do go back and you deal with that difficult client and that difficult situation, it kind of makes that client a little bit easier, because it's the trust, right? It's that maintaining that trust throughout the process, throughout the construction, even on a roof too. Like, you start with trust, you finish with trust, and that's what you're doing and saying. And that's what I love about like your background and what I've read up on you too, is like the ability to always go back and fix things and take care of it, even if it's a tile that's off or a small crack. And I mean, I think a lot of roofers would be like, you kidding me on a small crack? But you're like, hey, I'll go back, right?
Yeah. I mean, I kind of like to take like true accountability for everything.
Yeah.
So anytime that somebody comes to me with a problem, my first thought process is, if they're unhappy, that's an ability for me to be better. So let's go there, let's talk about it, let's figure out what it is, and let's try to avoid it in the future.
I just talked about that with a client before you came in. I was on the phone and she was talking about one of the vendors we're using, and she said to me, she goes, Bill, she goes, I'm not here to I don't want to be the complainer. She goes, and I'm not saying I'm upset, but she goes, I just want them to kind of that subcontractor to come in and see this. It was over a wine room, and she goes, I want them to come and see it and kind of just tell me what the problems are. I go, you want accountability?
Yeah.
And she goes, yeah. And I was like, yeah, so do I. And I was like, if you can't give accountability, like the best subcontractors I work with take accountability, and if they don't, I'll get them to. I'll figure out, and I have a way of doing that to where it's like, but because we always do as the contractor, right? You should. And I told her, she's like, I don't expect perfect. I don't think this thing needs to be like a lot done to it. And I go, no. I was like, it needs to be close to perfect. I mean, it needs to be perfect. I mean, nothing's perfect in this world, but it needs to be close to what perfection truly is. And there shouldn't be any imperfections in this thing. So, and I was like, and I'm not going to accept it, nor will I let the subcontractor do that either. So you got me on your side because we're the contractor, and she's like, no, I appreciate it. I just don't want you to think I'm complaining this and that. You could show the house anytime. I'm like, you're the least complainer out of a lot of, I was like, you're a great client. Like we take care of every client no matter what. And that's what I hear from you too.
Same thing. I hate to be a complainer too, because I've dealt with so many in my life. So I obviously try my hardest not to, but that's what happens when you work with subcontractors. Like every once in a while you get a bad job, but I mean, there's been so many times that we've identified problems and just completely ripped it off and redid it at our own expense. Like,
same.
I'm big on the future, thinking about every job like in the long run.
Yeah.
So if it costs me money, I always tell the team, like, I'm not afraid to lose money. I'm afraid to lose my reputation. So that's the most important thing to me, is like making sure that anybody that does a deal with me can refer me.
Yeah. That's huge right there. You're not afraid to lose money. You're afraid to lose your reputation. And you and I are a lot alike. I see everything the same exact way. Like, we've gone back. I've ripped out a whole pool deck because it wasn't done right, and it was on our dime too. Why? Because in the future, play the long term. You want your clients to be happy no matter what. And that was actually, we talked about Andy Frisella before this too. He gave me that advice. He's like, always play the long-term game, especially in the construction field too. I think there's a lot of short-term minded people in this business because they want the instant gratification. They want the cash quick, and then they move on, we talked about. But if you play the long-term, that's how you're going to scale. And I think that's how you guys have grown so fast. Yeah.
I mean, it's working for us in these different markets. I mean, the hard part is like, people don't know who we are everywhere yet, right?
Yeah.
It's just a matter of time when they start working with us that they're going to refer us like they do in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, we'll see. You got a big fan down here at Buccos Roofing.
Yeah, so. Thank you.
Let's get into, I want to kind of get into the process more too for people that are watching and clients and so on too. Like, what should they be looking for in a roofing bid? Like, we talked about like people taking the cheapest bid. What is wrong with that? Like, what are they missing when they take the lowest bid?
I mean, roofing to me, like, I always calculate it like economics. Like, how much are you going to spend and how long is it going to last? Right? And they reach for maybe a roof that's, $11,000 compared to $13,000, but the difference might be 10 years. So what's a roof going to cost if you do the math and you add in inflation and you do it 10 years sooner? Like, flat roofing is a perfect example of this. They say like a normal flat roof will last like 10 to 15 years, and a managed flat roof will last like 15 to 20, but a maintained roof will last like 25 to 35.
Hmm.
So that's huge in the commercial spaces to have like maintenance programs and like check things out, because you'll always go up there and the drains aren't being cleaned, and it's like, well, of course, like you created a bathtub up there. Like the roof's not going to last as long as it should if it's a bathtub. And the same thing with like residential roofs. Like I think one of the most important things if you're looking to get your roof replaced is like look for an itemized estimate. I think anybody that doesn't like truly provide like this is the product, this is the quantity, and here's the cost is probably has something to hide. And I think that that's like a clear indicator that, you know, if they have something to hide from the first time you meet them, there's probably more things that they're hiding.
Yeah, it goes that it's in the building world too. We face the same thing. I think it's you know, I don't know how many I've lost off of. I mean, not a lot, but I've lost a few off of like lower price. I've lost a few off of timeline dishonesty too. Actually, just lost one off of timeline, and they wouldn't tell me what the other builder said because I know we're fast. I know we're faster. We have the people. We have the subcontractors. It's just goes into kind of my next thing, and we've touched on this a little bit, is the honesty part, the integrity part, the telling the truth part of just being open and honest and saying this is the price because of this is what you're going to get, versus that kind of half, you know, we're going to get it done fast and this is the cost and there's really not much detail to it. I think what you said is important. The more detail, the better, especially in your industry too, and mine. Talk about like, you know, roofing's known, especially after storms and hurricanes. A lot of roofers come down here. They kind of pop out of the woodworks too. There's a ton of them. They knock on doors, say, "Oh yeah, we can do a free drone assessment of your roof." And I think they take advantage of people with that. I've heard from plenty of people that has happened. Talk about that a little bit too, and that, you know, what should a client do if there is storm damage? I know you guys probably deal with it different up there with winter, hail, maybe something like that. I don't know if you have hail up in Pittsburgh, but what should their first move be? Should it be go online and search as fast as they can who's the top Google rated guy, or should it be like, you know, take some time and like get a few bids, but then yet they have water damage coming in, like that person that needs to jump on it quick?
Yeah, so there's like two entirely different business models in roofing. You have the storm chasers and like the storm catchers.
Okay.
You know, storm catcher is like a good retail roofer.
Okay.
So if you're going to get insurance money, like you should just pick who you want to work with, right? Where a lot of the insurance, like the storm chasers go into your market like, hey, I can get you money, I can get you money. But the problem with that is they're not local. Right. And with roofing, there's like, you need to pass a certain amount of time until you're like out of the woods, like a couple storms, a whole season. Like that's good, like to have someone local around to run a full season, you know, get all the rain out of the way. So I know that roofing is a very heavily scrutinized business, like in terms of reviews. I think that it's very important to read the reviews for the roofer that you work with. And I think, like, honestly, read them, because like the stars, we get 1-star review the other day for somebody who's like, they called for they asked us for our personal information when we called. It's like, how can we not ask you for your address whenever we have to make you a roof estimate, you know? So you get like random, you know, bad reviews and things like that. But whenever you actually like read through the reviews, I think that that's truly important. And I don't know, these, like the longevity is important too. You know, what they say, like 1 out of 25 contractors will stay in business past 10 years. Yeah. So that's a good, like, you know, like a guarantee. If you work with someone that's been in business over 10 years, it's a pretty sure tell sign that they are a good company to work with. So I think the first thing is, don't just take the guy that knocks on your door, but go on Google, find a local guy, find someone that's reputable, ask some neighbors if they've gotten their roofs done, and then just reach out to them. Because ultimately, they're all going to tell you the same thing. Hey, if you have damage, call your insurance. Once you get your money, call us. Let's do a deal. Here's the price. Yeah.
And going into the 1-star review based off of somebody,
it's crazy.
It's pretty rough. It just, that person's got a lot of time on their hands to take the time to
that was a sad one too, because it was right in, like, we just opened in Columbus last year.
Yeah.
And, like, we only had 10 clients at the time.
Oh, so it really killed you on the review side. Yeah. Yeah, you can probably get it taken off, I hope.
Try. Yeah, it's not the end of the world.
So another question revolving around like for the client too, what questions should they be asking before signing a roof contract?
Do you have insurance?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. Can you make me a certificate of insurance, like to cover me? We've seen accidents happen where the law firm goes after the homeowner. So making sure they have insurance, I think that's huge. Ask for some referrals. I think that's good too. Like if you have an HOA, like make sure that they have experience working with HOAs, because that's a whole different kind of business than just doing a residential house. Because when you do an HOA, basically half the people there don't even want to do the roof. So you have to be like overly pleasing for a lot of people, and making sure everything's going good there. What's your cleanup process like? What's your turnaround time? How do you communicate? Basically, like, how long have you been doing it, and can you guarantee it? Like the warranty, I think, is very important. How long is the actual in-house warranty? Because everyone sells the manufacturer warranties, but they're not always as good as you think. Their big goal is to get out of that thing. Yeah. So if a real good company will have like a nice in-house warranty for you, and then they'll be in business for quite a bit of time that you can trust them.
I want to talk to you also about like the good things Buccos Roofing is doing community-wise. Giselle here kind of filled me in on kind of that background a little bit and what you all have been doing, and I want to highlight it. I think you've been doing the free roof giveaway too, which is pretty cool. Talk about that.
Yeah, so free roof giveaway is one of our initiatives that we love. I'm a big believer, like, help people, money will follow. Yeah. Right? It's just like karma is everything. It's always a good thing to like put your best foot forward. So the free roof giveaway is actually something that's mandatory for all of our franchisees the first year to give one away to break into the market. It all kind of started like I always wanted to give away free roofs, and I'm like, we have all these supplies, we have these leftover materials, we have vendor credits, like we could do this. But what really pushed it over the edge was when I was like contemplating like how much money we were spending in advertising. And I was like, I'm spending thousands of dollars in advertising to get roof leads. And at the end of the day, maybe if I launch a free roof, I'll get a list of people that need roofs.
Oh,
right?
Yeah,
and that was kind of like the determining factor to do it. And then once we did it, it was like, this is way more than that. Like, you just have to see, like I get chills thinking about it, like all the tears and the smiles and it's really like one of the best gifts you can give somebody, to protect your home. And like we pick them completely random, and it's just ironic how it comes back to us. Like last year we set a goal to have a 10% growth, and we were like right at the finish line at the end of the year, and we're at like the 9-point-something%, and I was like, we need to get to that 10. We need to get to the 10. Sure enough, the guy that we gave our free roof to last year called us for siding. And we did a siding bid to push us over 10%. So it was like such a full circle story of like how it all came back to us.
Yeah.
It's a good thing. We do like local trash cleanups. We sponsor a bunch of Little League baseball teams. We're helping with like we do block parties and things like that. Like for me, like a roofer is like a community staple. Like you have to be a part of the community. And I think that one of our differentials, like, you obviously have like your private equity backed roofing companies that are very big, and then you have your franchise companies that are big, and then there's us that are kind of competing with both of those business models. And I just kind of thought that like that community care is like a true differentiator for us, and it's true. Like it's really something that we believe in.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Like I'm big on the more we're service businesses. We're service people. We're in this world to serve, right? That's why God put us here. Like, right. And I'm so big on that too, is we have to give, and it's give, and then you'll receive. That's just how life is too. And whether it's in business, entrepreneurship, life in general too. So when she told me about that too, that is awesome, because you don't really hear too much about that, but it is community driven too. Like it puts you in a good place in the community because people hear about you, right? I'm sure the radio stations talk about you, and the word gets out, and it's like, it's such a good thing. But then to make somebody's, like you said, it's their home, right? Yeah. and to have that impact on somebody is so powerful too. So, so awesome. As far as community initiatives and stuff like that, what else are you guys doing?
We do the trash cleanups every once in a while, where we go out, bring all the dump trucks out, and clean up
That's cool.
busy roads that are kind of a mess. Like I said, the Little League baseball is just a good play for us, because we're like, Buccos is kind of like Pittsburgh Pirates. That's their nickname. So we're in line with a lot of the baseball teams. And then obviously the free roof, we give out I think we gave out 2 this year, and then we're launching one in central Pennsylvania. We're launching one in Columbus and one in Morgantown. So we'll have 5 this year that we gave away.
Wow.
Pretty cool.
So more than one a year.
Yeah, yeah.
That's pretty good.
It's great. The hardest part in the beginning was like getting people to believe us.
Yeah, yeah.
I remember
we're giving you a free roof. Yeah, right.
Right. Like, what's the catch? And the first guy won it. He's like, that's unbelievable. The second person, we honestly had to like serve them mail, like certified mail. Like they wouldn't answer the phone. They thought we were trying to like scam them. Like, no, really, we are going to give you a free roof. Like, can you schedule this thing? Because we're trying to schedule it. So now we're like putting together YouTube videos on it, so it's a little bit more believable. But it's true, it is.
I want to talk. Let's go into your company a little bit too, because obviously to have the mindset you do, you got to have good people working for you.
Oh, yeah.
And I looking at what you do, the website, the team. You have a big team too. How do you keep everybody kind of in that cultural mindset that you have, that it's that Buccos standard, right? Like we have the Ryman standard. You have your standard of how you do roofs and the importance of doing the right thing too. Like you as a leader and your leadership end, talk about that a little bit, because on the roofing end, once again, that's why I want to highlight you as because we're a lot alike. Like there's not you don't get that out of a lot of roofing companies,
right.
Like especially from ownership. Like most of the time you don't even hear from ownership. You talk to a salesman, they're in, they're out, whatever. But you're kind of raising that standard in the industry too. That's why I'm grateful to have you on today. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, one of the most important things you could do with any company is talent acquisition.
Yeah.
Right? It's huge. It's super important. One of the things that we always say is like, we can teach you roofing, but we can't teach you to be a good person.
Yeah.
So that's the first and foremost thing, is like find good people that care. And then for me, like I just strive for excellence. That's just where I am in my life. That's what I live by, and that's what I preach to everybody. So it's like, and I always tell them like everything shows that. They're like, why are you vacuuming right now? Like there's 100 people that can work here. I'm like, because if a customer walks in here and there's dirt on the floor, like that shows. You know, if your truck's dirty, that shows. Like everything talks, right? So you have to like be at the top presentation of yourself and everywhere that you go, everything that you do. So I think the main goal for me is like, I want to be a prestigious roofing company. I don't want to just be like the guy that, you know, takes the job and you never hear from again. So there's a lot of follow-up and quality that comes with that. And I just feel like we kind of developed every single system around that. And like I touched on earlier, the whole premise of this you made a mistake thing is important. Like you need to look at all your mistakes that you've made and create systems to avoid those. And if you've done as much business as I have, you're going to run into enough problems and you're going to realize enough things to avoid. So when you kind of bake in all your problems into processes, and then you pair that with great people, which we're so fortunate, we're so blessed. And I know that like in the very beginning phases of my life, like it was really hard to kind of introduce yourself as a roofer, you know, like it's not like a very prestigious thing. And when I started like getting these great people, like it's pretty amazing to think how many great people we got that signed up to be a roofer.
That's
you
cool.
know, in some regards, like I know that like I take pride in it, and I'm very proud of it at this point in my life, but it wasn't always like that.
Yeah.
You know, back in the day, like we started like almost 15 years ago, and now you get a lot more clean cut people in the industry, and it's a little bit more like prestigious. But then it was not. You know, it was full of drug addicts and people that, you know, had no way of life except for doing this. And I just felt like the fact that I sold, you know, a lot of these people on the idea of joining a roofing company, I take a lot of pride in. Yeah. But then it also, like, what they saw was the same thing that I saw. Like, this is special. This company's going places. And at the end of the day, like, they see the opportunity. Like, we're scaling. We're going across the country. Like, I think people want to be a part of that.
It's the vision, right? And it's you being able to cast that vision and actually you walk the walk, right? You don't just talk the talk. And that's where people are going to want to be by your side too. That personal excellence, like I said, you and I relate a lot too, because I'm a lot of the same way as far as the personal excellence, holding the standard, but holding the standard in myself, right?
For sure.
And when you hold it in yourself, the people around you start to hold it in themselves too. And it's like I talk about leadership. I'm a big John Maxwell fan, but you know, he talks about like the law of the lid too. Your leadership number is basically, if mine's a 5, the rest of my team's going to be lower. They're going to be a 2. But if mine's a 10, they're going to be an 8. And it's like, if we can be better leaders, we create better leaders around us, and people are going to want to be there too. But we have to, as leaders too, we have to continue to increase that standard to where they have something to go after as well. And that's what you're doing too, because it's not, you're just a roofer. It's like, it's more than that. You run a big company, you're scaling, you guys are franchising now. You know, franchising can be hard because you got to still uphold those standards too. But it's all how you create that franchise. Like, you can say no as well if it's not the right fit, right?
Yeah, it's the same recruitment process. Basically, definitely won't sell my franchise to anybody I don't trust.
Yeah.
It's not about the money, it's about the legacy. So we want to make sure that everyone that we sign up is like, has that same belief. We have 2 good guys right now. I'm thinking we got another potential franchisee on the way. So we're definitely like on the slow growth plan on that.
It's the best way to be,
Yeah, it's very steady and good, and everybody that we have is awesome, and we've trained them well. But I think one of the other things about leadership that people don't, like take into consideration is like, you can't really have anything beneath you, what you're willing to do, and the fact that like everyone in my company has seen me like personally put on the roofs, personally change the oil in my truck, like personally clean my office. Like, I'm not afraid to do the hard work. Like, I started out my entire career like that. So I think that that's very easy whenever I ask something of somebody and I'm like, hey, listen, like, I need you to go do this. They're like, well, I know you would, it's like, I would. It's just that I don't have the time to do that right now. Can you do that for us, please? Like, for us, like the company, like, we need that. It's not me asking you. It's like, we need the company to be better. And a lot of that, goes over easier whenever they see that I care so much about the company.
Yeah, that's the best line you can get right there. I know you would. Mark, this has been awesome, man. I gotta have you back on again too, because you and I could talk for hours. But where can people find and connect with you?
Obviously our website is the best, buccosroofing.com. I have a LinkedIn as well, Mark Easton, and that would probably be the 2 best.
Great website, by the way.
Great
website. Well, I appreciate you coming on, man. This was awesome.
Thanks for having me. It was a blessing.
Yeah, thanks for coming to Naples too and making the trip, man. You'll be down here doing some roofs. So, but with that being said, you guys know the routine: like, share, comment, subscribe. Check this episode out if you missed it live. You go on YouTube, you'll see it on there, all podcast platforms, and we will see you guys on the next one. The Real Build is about building better culture, leaders, visionaries, community to better serve the client. I'm your host, Bill Ryman, your broker builder, and I'm here to showcase real business owners building companies with integrity, trust, and a commitment to making a positive impact. Join us as we explore their stories, insights, and strategies for success. With that being said, welcome to The Real Build.